Because up top here, there's a little, if I can get the icon to move on it, let me show it, but it is a notepad. Now in that notepad, every single stock has got its own notepad. So you can put useful information on it. Don't touch with barge pole. Very useful stuff. You can put your stocks, when you traded, what you traded on there. You can put news items and all sorts of things in there because you can cut and paste things into it. And then when you're finished with that, you can close the window and save it. You don't have to save it to anywhere. It knows where it saves it to. That's where it saves it to. See Wintest 32 Notes AAL London. So it will save that, and now you've got a file that has been saved for all time for you. And if you look down at the bottom of the window, I can get my bar to go away. It won't. No, but there will be an in your activity bar down at the bottom. It will show there is notes. It will say notes. Then you'll know to go to the notes icon, click on the notes icon, and your note will come back for that particular stock. So the system will tell you when you have a note as you go through the stocks, and then you can click on the note button and get your note back. So again, you can store all the information you need about your trading, about your connection with any particular stock as time moves on. And as time moves on, you will get to know more and more of the stocks as you get to trade them, and you'll learn more and more about them. And this is the way to store that knowledge. So that's what we can do in terms of charts, in terms of creating lists, in terms of recording your activity around those charts. So I want to move on now to maybe some more sophisticated things, because a chart package, after all, is just a chart package. And there are lots of chart packages out there. And you can say, well, Ray said that it's good because it's an application and you can really trip through stocks. That's great, that's fine, but that doesn't really justify the whole thing. What starts to justify you using Winway as opposed to any other charting package, some of which are free and very good charting packages. But what they don't do is what now AIQ and Winway charts start to do, which is to add some intelligence to your charts. It's very easy to draw a chart on a charting package. The question though is, what chart do you want to draw? How do you find out which charts you want to look at and why you're looking at them and what you're looking for? That's what charting packages won't tell you. But technical analysis package such as Winway, with its AIQ, its intelligence, will actually start to help you with. So let me explain what that means. For instance, as an example in Winway, we've looked at the charts and we've looked at the stocks as I showed you here, AAL, and we've got this little 2258 in there. And if you look on here, what that is an expression of what the ER is. The ER is an expert rating. And what an expert rating is that the developer of AIQ way back when looked at the market and said that, wouldn't it be good if we could have one indicator which showed us how that stock is going, whether it believed it was going up or down or nowhere. And what he did is he looked at the major indicators that move the markets and he weighted them in terms of their importance and added them together and created an indicator called the expert rating. The expert rating has values for up expert rating between 0 and 100 and down between, not surprisingly. So it gives a view as to where he's going. Now, when I say a view, it's no one's view. It's purely in the numbers. The The numbers are, let's face it, just statistics. They are data which comes in each day. They don't lie and they don't have an opinion. So what the system does, it looks at that data in the same way, evaluates the indicators, weights them, creates a number for them, and creates a number which in itself is meaningless, but as it moves will help to understand where a stock is going. And in the extremes will show you the direction. And when we say the extremes, the guy who developed it reckons that if you're talking over 95, you've got enough statistical correlation to say that that is a real indicator of what's happening. The odds are really stacked for it if it's over 95, between 95 and 100. Anything less than that doesn't really tell you much about it. So if you look at this AAL for today, 22.58, it's showing you really not very much because it's neither up nor down 95. Now we can move along to see where we're coming here till we find something that does describe what's going to happen. Here's a 98 up, interestingly. There's a 95 down. They're pretty much early indicators because they look at indicators which foretell what's happening. When I say foretell, I don't mean in the sense of a seance. I mean they are indicators which look at trends which are changing, which are ending, and therefore the expectation is that it will change its view. So it sees the top of a run or the bottom of a run rather than the increase, the way up the other side or the way down the other side. So it's an early indicator, and here it's looking at an indication of a 95 down. Now, 95 down of itself just about fits the criteria because it's 95 or over, but we look for an indicator which gives us a view or confirms that down signal. So this pretty much in Winway we use the phase. So I'll set up the phase and at the same time show to you how we can add more indicators into our chart. Now, if we press the enter key, we get from the list view back to the barometer view. And I want to look at the phase because the phase is something that tells us whether a particular ER setting is a confirmed one or not. So how do I add? Well, in chart, I go to settings and settings, indicator library, charting. That gives me here a list of all the indicators available in the system. The ones selected are the ones on the right-hand side here that we have selected, but there are plenty of others that are available but not selected. So I want to look at the phase, so I'm going to flip down here till I find the phase, use the arrow to send it across to the other side. Once it's across the other side here, I'll OK it, and now my phase appears on the right-hand side and available for me to look at, which I will do. So what you want to look at is where the phase matches the expert rating. Now here, we know that with the presence of hindsight, you can clearly see that the phase completely turned, but at the time, not really an indicator at that stage, because the phase, if there's a down, the phase has to have a downward trend. And here it's just about level. So it's actually not really explaining very much at that stage. So it's probably actually not confirmed. So what we're looking for is confirmed expert ratings to tell us that the system pretty much expects that stock to go down. How do we know what's going on? Well, there's a very useful tool up here at the top called ER, the expert rules. And what they do is they show which of these indicators that are part of expert rating have fired. And what do we mean by fired? Well, we mean that they're in such a state that because of their weighting, they have a big impact on the expert rating. So if I could read here, and I don't know how, hopefully everyone can read as well, but I'll just read the first one out just to explain a bit. It says, the analysis of the rate of change of the exponentially smoothed average price, or ESA as we know it, suggests the start of a downtrend for this equity. The rate of change is negative and continuing to decrease, which indicates increased downward force. This is bearish indication for a continuation of this move. So it's saying that the ESA is turning negative. Equally, it's saying also the equity price has crossed and closed below the intermediate term 7% exponentially smoothed average. So we've crossed below the ESA. The price has crossed below. And again, it says this indicates a continuation of the current price movement. It's considered a weak bearish signal, which is sometimes followed by a downward movement in prices. Not always, but sometimes followed by downward movement. So if you go through these, for every expert rating that there is, every day on every stock, there will be the indicators which have caused that expert rating. I would recommend that at the beginning you start to use this because you understand how the different indicators that you're looking at actually affect the market and actually affect that particular stock on that particular day and how it interacts. Very useful. So the expert rating is a very good way of getting an early indication of what a stock's doing. So when I say early indication, it's good to look early doors, as they say, create a list of those indicators and then follow them through for the next 2 or 3 periods to see if that indication actually is coming about, and then invest accordingly when you can see that that trend really is coming in. It would be nice to be in at the top, at the bottom, or out at the top, but in this business it's a matter of working out your best statistical chance of getting a good result on a trade. And you're going to be pretty lucky to meet it exactly at the top to sell and exactly at the bottom to buy. So looking at an expert rating helps you to know when that's about to happen so you can follow it quickly when it does.